Welcome to the Create What You Speak podcast. Join me as we have a real-life discussion on how to change your life by changing your thoughts. Remember, question everything, trust yourself, and find your truth. You are listening to the Create What You Speak podcast, brought to you by webtalkradio.net. My name is Sloan Fremont, and I'm your host. This is a podcast where we continue to free our minds, expand our consciousness, and untangle those thoughts and patterns that keep us from living. So every week there's different topics I bring you that with the intention that it really does help us all to do those things, right? Especially the untangling our thoughts part of things. And so today I wanted to talk about opportunities that are all around us and being able to realize our own personal power. And I know over the past couple of years, it may have felt that our opportunities have been taken away and that we actually haven't had any opportunities. But today I wanted to maybe offer a different side of things and just remind you that we always have the option to see more than what seems to be on the surface. And if we can go underneath a little bit and start to open our mind and look at things maybe in a little bit different perspective, hopefully we can see those opportunities that maybe we missed in the past. This is two examples I've had in my life where I've taken something that I was interested in. Actually, three, I would say. Three times I've done this now, where I've taken something that I'm interested in and made money from it. And this is not a new concept, right? People do side gigs, side hustles all the time. So this isn't something new. But what's interesting to me about this is when I started these things I'm going to tell you about, I didn't really have the expectations. I wanted to make money, but they led me in different directions than I expected when I first started. So if you've listened back early on from the show when I first started the show, it's been almost 5 years now that I've been doing the show. I told you the story about how I used to have a personal finance blog, and this was back before blogs were what they are today. I mean, this was back in the day, like Blogger was the only real platform, I think. I mean, we're talking 12 years now, okay? So this was what year? 20? This would be like 1990? No, it would have been 2000. It would have been the year 2000, sorry. So, no, it would have been a little later than that, 2010-ish, somewhere in there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. When blogging first started. And I started out blogging because at the time I was laid off. Again, I'd been laid off like multiple times. I was unemployed. I had a lot of free time and I was broke, obviously, no job. And when I was searching for information at that time, there was nothing out there for single people. Everything like financially related was focused on families. So how to, create a budget for families, how to, save money for families. Everything was family focused. And I started a blog about how to handle your finances for single women. Like that was the focus. That wasn't a thing back then. I had a podcast from that. I had a lot of different things. Met a lot of cool people, did a lot of things as a result of that. But what came from so what I saw there was a need. I saw something. I was in a shitty situation. I was unemployed. I had over a 2-year period, I think I may have worked like 6 months because I got fired. I got laid off. I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I was at that stage in my life where I was like, I think it was like late 20s and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know my path. And not that I do necessarily right now, but back then I still couldn't, I was still trying to figure it out. And I started the blog with the intent. I wanted to tell my story. I wanted to talk about what I was going through. I wanted to offer solutions for other people who were in my situation. I hoped I could make money off of it. I had no idea how to do that back then. I didn't even know how to do a blog. I knew no coding skills, nothing like that. I couldn't hire anybody. I was unemployed. So, didn't have any money to pay anybody. So I figured, well, I better learn this stuff myself if I want to do it. And so because I was unemployed and having a lot of free time, I would stay up at night and just learn if I change this code, this would happen. Or if I did this, okay, then that happens. Okay. Then I started to learn. I started to figure out how to use WordPress. I started to figure out how to, modify the site, all this kind of stuff. And as time went on, big things came from that. There were a lot of things, but for the purposes of today, I want to tell you two different things. The blog picked up momentum. I had, like I said, I got a podcast out of it. I had advertisements. I earned income from that. I actually had a script submitted for a reality TV show. It didn't go anywhere, but that was my choice. I didn't actually see that through. But a lot of different things came from that, from just the money making side of it, right? And the relationships I met, people that I became friends with, people I'm still friends with today as a result. Then on the other side of that learning on the technical side actually led me to my career in IT consulting, which I've mentioned several times on the show. But obviously I made money from that, right? That was my career, has been for 12 years now. And being able to think, I have no formal IT training. I didn't go to school for that. Took like one class on SQL, like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago now. And that was really it. Everything else I learned on the job. I learned from figuring it out myself. It was very unusual for me to go into a project understanding what I was going to be doing. I was often in situations where I had no clue what was going on. And the best piece of advice, I will still say this today, is I learned, somebody told me one of my early consulting jobs was get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that advice has served me well, not only in my career, but in life. And it's not always easy to do that, to be comfortable when things are very uncomfortable. But it is, it's a better way of living and being, because you're not putting up that layer of resistance that causes so much pain and suffering that we often impose on ourselves. So from the first podcasting gig came my ability from the first blog came my ability to earn income from the blog itself. And then also it led me down a career path that I still am in today. Again, that was not what I originally saw happening when I started the blog. That wasn't my intent. I had no idea that I was going to, end up using those skills that I taught myself in my career. But there were opportunities. I found opportunities at that time when there seemed like there were none. I mean, on the outside, if you looked at my situation, I was unemployed, broke, no clue what I wanted to do, no clue where I was going, what was happening. And I remember at that time always feeling like I was waiting for something to happen. I was waiting for someone to come in and I don't know, offer me some big thing that would be the next thing for me, right? And that waiting, soon I realized that I was the one. I was the one that was going to have to do this stuff. Nobody was coming in here to fix this for me. Nobody was coming in here to save me or do something for me, right? It was up to me. And so finding opportunities when being able to see those opportunities, see a need and take it and do something with it, 12 years ago led me to sitting here today where I'm telling you another story where I've done this, where I started this podcast. It's been, like I said, almost 5 years ago. And again, not hopefully with the intent of making money off of it, but not really knowing where that was going to go. And as a result of this and sticking with this and finding my voice here and finding the platform, the way I wanted to present this, the type of people I wanted to talk to, the message that I wanted to offer to people, has led me down another path. Now I'm doing different things like professional voiceover services. I'm doing interviews for other podcasts where, which I've talked about, where, I'm expanding my network. I'm expanding what I usually talk about. I'm talking to other authors and other people who have stories to tell. And what's interesting about that I'm learning is everybody I'm talking to, everybody has a story. That's no secret, but everybody is up against the same things, because we often feel like it's just us. We feel like we're the only ones struggling with whatever the thing is, like, fear, or I'm not good enough, or the imposter syndrome, right? We feel like we're the only one, but every single person I talk to that I'm interviewing with as a result of having this podcast, everybody faces the same thing. Everybody feels the same way. If they're an author, when I ask them what their proudest moment is, it's that they actually wrote the book. They sat down, they had a desire, they sat down and they wrote the book and they did it. If I ask what was difficult, sometimes it's talking through the fears that they had. Sometimes it's talking through the emotions they had to identify with as they were going through the process. But everybody's stories are very similar in that way. We're all going through battles. We're all facing things. We all have these stories in our mind. We all have these experiences that have shaped who we are and got us to where we are today. But no one is alone in this. And everybody is going through something similar. So I wanted to bring that piece of this up today, because if you're feeling alone, it and I have a lot recently. I've been going through my own, level of things as well. But we are all, I hate that. I'm not going to say we're all in this together. I hate that. That is absolutely not what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is that we all face similar things that keep us small. And often we feel like we're the only one, not me, at least I feel that I'm the only one that feels that way, or I'm the only one that feels challenged by these things that keep us small, want to keep me small. And I'm here to tell you that's absolutely not true. I know you know this, but I wanted to offer that as a reminder today, because if you're facing something, if you're dealing with something, if you're trying to decide something, or you feel like you're the only one going through it, you are absolutely not. Everyone else has been in something similar, or can at least relate in some way to what you're going through. And so taking that back to opportunities, as I said originally with my original blog and how it led to my career, I was in a place where it felt like there were no opportunities. Again, unemployed, nothing really great to speak of, but I found the opportunity in it, and I ran with it with what I had. And so I wanted to talk about that again today, because over the past 2 years, it's been very easy for us to feel disempowered. It's been very easy to feel there are no opportunities, that it's a hopeless cause, and we're all just might as well give up and sit down and essentially, I guess, die, because that's what it's often made out to sound like, right? And what I want to tell you today, and what I wanted to offer for your consideration, is that it's absolutely not true, that there are opportunities everywhere. And your job, if you want to change, if you want to do something different, if you want to get out of the box that you might feel you're in, is to find those opportunities. And I know if you're listening to this, you already know what your opportunity is. It's already come to mind as I've been talking about this. I guess the question is, or the thing to consider is, do you want to attempt the opportunity? Do you want to move forward with doing something that you see as an opportunity and see where it takes you? I have turned this podcast into a business. I actually just got my business license. I opened my account at the bank, and I felt very proud of that. I was very proud of that moment, because it took me a while to get here. It took me a while to see other opportunities, see different ways that I could go about this, and do it in my own way, do it in the way that I see as the right way for me, not because somebody else followed this path and they were successful. I'm over that, right? We've all had a lifetime of that, of trying to follow somebody and doing it their way. And that goes for anything, right? Exercise, diet, career, whatever it is. That's over. Those days are over. What I think it is about now is finding those elements from everybody that you listen to, or that encourage you, or that offer you different perspectives, and take those pieces that work for you and apply those in your own life in whatever way that might be. Whether it's, again, your career, your relationships, your starting a new business, getting out of what you're doing, whatever it is. And the opportunities are there. We just have to be willing to look for them and see them as opportunities, because these challenges that we're going through, the gaps that we feel in a lot of things, maybe it's anything, technology, job offerings, how we interact with people, whatever you're seeing as a gap in something is an opportunity for you. It's an opportunity for you to take it and do something with it. And I've talked also on the show about the product that I invented that is still, and this is, we're talking probably like 4 years in the making, something like that, of how long this has taken so far. And I'm just at the point now where I have my product, and it's getting ready. We're doing the quality assurance testing on it to see if we're even ready to do the first offering of it. And what it is a travel product for you to take your cosmetics through when you go through TSA, when you only get the 1 quart bag, right? I have a patented product. I have 2 patents on it so far. Hopefully I get the other 2, and be able to take that and take your products in a better way. And there's more to come on that. I don't have everything ironed out in a way that it's presentable yet, that I want to share yet, but that day is coming. But I bring this up too, because again, I saw a challenge. I saw a problem. I used to be a business traveler. I would travel every week. I was very tired of the TSA taking my products. I saw the same frustrations around me when I traveled, and I wanted a better way. And so I did something about it. I don't know where it's going to go. I have no idea. I imagine where I first imagined this going and where I end up are probably not going to be the same place, and that's completely fine. But there are opportunities everywhere if we're just willing to look. And we have more power than we realize in this. And I will say this until probably my last day on this show and my last day on earth, that we have more power. I've had to remind myself of that recently. I've had to, I did a show a while back called Do You Have a Say in It? I don't know. I think it was back in early 2020, and you can look back and search for that episode. But we all have a say in our lives. We're led to believe that we don't. We're led to believe various things that are lies, that are not true. This matrix imprint that's laid over us, and then society further drives in through things we see on TV, social media, schooling, all of these things, right? We talk about that a lot on here too. But the level of power that we have, if we're willing to step up to it, is really bigger than I think any of us are willing to accept, myself included, and bigger than we can imagine. So being able to step into that power, and it may be baby steps stepping into that power, but finding what that means for you and being able to move forward with it, I think is not only key when you're thinking about the opportunities, but it's like there are two parts of the process: understanding that there's opportunities out there and remembering that you have the power to do something about that. So I wanted to talk about that today as a reminder. Again, I haven't done a solo show in a while, and felt like it was the time to do that. And just to help us all remember that there's more to what's going on than we let ourselves believe, and in a positive way. There's always more to what's going on in a negative way. And there's many other people talking about that. That's not my intent. That's not the purpose of this show. The purpose of this show is empowerment. It's to remind you. It's to remind myself as I tell you. It's to bring us back to these states of, I think even when we're reminded, we can feel that in our body because it resonates, right? Because we know it's true. And when we are in that state, more of that resonating with truth, then we're able to live in our own truth, whatever truth is for us. So yeah, I think that's what I wanted to talk about today. I've done a lot of interviews recently. I think you guys have, if you're on social media, if you're not on my Telegram channel, I would love it if you would join us on there, Create What You Speak on Telegram. I have all the links to my social media in the show notes. I'm on Float, Gab, Minds, Telegram, as I mentioned. I also do all the videos on Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble. I'm on Substack now. I also have a page on Publish Ox. The O is actually a 0. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I have everything on there. So I try to keep everything pretty updated regularly. So I would love if you join on any of those ways that we connect. Our Telegram group is pretty active. So if that is something that you'd like to interact with, I would love to connect with you on there. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Just a reminder that opportunities are all around us, and we all have more power than we realize. And it's time to step up to that power, and it's time to step up and use it. So if something resonated with you in this show today, I would encourage you and actually challenge you to take that next step, whatever that is for you, whatever that step is, to follow that thread of something that interests you, that you're curious about, that you want to see what you can do. And it doesn't have to be something that you're making money on. It could just be something, a skill that you're interested in, a language that you want to learn, or something you've always wanted to do. It's in your realm, your span of control, right? A lot of things aren't, but things that we like this, that we're interested in, that we want to either drive change in or have ideas of how to make something better, that's in your span of control. So it's up to you to take the step to do it. So, all right, I think that's it for today. You've been listening to the Create What You Speak podcast, brought to you by webtalkradio.net. You can hear the podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and your favorite podcasting platform. I'm Sloan Fremont, and I hope you'll join me for the next episode of the Create What You Speak podcast, where we will continue to free our minds, expand our consciousness, and untangle those thoughts and patterns that keep us from living. You can visit my website, sloanfremont.com, to learn more.